Welcome to this video on setting up your Godot environment. My name is Matthew. Let's get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with importing a project that already exists into Godot. And what we're going to do first is head over here to this import button, and you'll notice this window pops up. Here in the project path is where you want to specify wherever your project is that you want to import. It might be easier to use browse, so that's what I'm going to do. So my project is not in my documents. It's actually on my desktop, in a folder on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and change documents to desktop and hit enter. And it's in my Godot folder. So I'll double click on that. And this UI demo starter code is what I want to import. So I'll double click, keep going in. And this project.godot file is what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead, double click on that, and notice it changes, and hit import and edit. So while we wait for that to load, what we're going to do now is just go over some of the important windows that you'll be using when developing your game. And to start, I'm just going to go ahead and open up a scene that already exists, and we'll begin with this scene window up here. By default, and everything I show in this video will be in their default positions. If you want to set your Godot to its default placement, you can click on this editor button, editor layout, and hit default. Nothing changed because I was already in default. So the scene tab that we have in the top left is where all of our nodes and our node tree lives. So anytime we want to add a node, we know we should probably come over here to the scene tab, and with this plus we can either add a node, or with this chain we can link an instance of a node that already exists, but I won't mess with that for now. Right below it we have our file system window. This displays everything that exists in your project folder. So I have this vector font in my project folder. I also have some scenes. I have the source folder with some actors in it, which are just more scenes, as well as some sprites. So if you ever need a file that you've put in your project, which is always good practice to do, this is where it will likely show up. Then over here on the right side, we have what could arguably be one of the most important windows, the inspector. The inspector will display any information or variables that exist within a node. So for instance, if I click on the number is a label, and notice here in my inspector, all the values that I am able to change are present. So the text, and I know this was already done, but you can see this is what the label is referencing, this number 3. I could change that if I wanted to say hello world or something like that, but I'll keep that as 3 for now. I can also change the alignment or whether or not I want to clip the text, and this is just for the label. So anytime you need to change a variable that exists within a node, this is where you're going to go. Now for a window that isn't visible by default, and it is this node tab up here. If I click on it, you'll see a lot of these things. These things are known as signals, and while I won't get into their purpose in this video, just know that they're here. So by default, it's right next to the inspector tab in this node window. And when you click on it, you'll see all the signals that exist for your project. So say I want to edit a script. So I'm going to go ahead and select a file that already has a script in it, or a scene I should say, and we can see that my coin has a script. If I want to edit that script, I can simply come up here on this bar and hit the script button, where right here you'll see all the scripts that exist within my project, all the methods that exist within the currently selected script, and of course the script itself, which you are free to change. If at any time you want to go back to the game, you can just hit this 2D button. And one thing about the game window that is also worth sharing, and it will be the last thing that I go over, are these lines. Notice this purple, green, and dark blue line. These represent the game window. So say I wanted to add a background. I don't actually have a background in this file, but say I did. If I wanted the background to take up my entire game, all I would have to do is fit it between these lines in this rectangle. Anything that exists outside of this rectangle won't show up in our default game window. And you can change this within the settings, but that's for another video. So with that being said, I know this was a bit of a long one, but it is important to know where everything is within the Godot editor. So, and that's where I'll end it off here. Good luck developing your games.